Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start the chapter number 11, that is getting started with Django from the subject web frameworks. So these are the contents from the chapter number 11. We are going to see the three core files, that is that we are going to see three core files from the Django. Those are like model.py, urls.py and views.py. Then we are going to see the setting up database connections with that MySQL or SQL server and managing users and Django admins tools. And last topic is installing and using out of the box Django features. So we will see first the core files of Django that are model.py, urls.py and views.py. First we will see Django views. In that we are going to see that views.py. Okay. So Django views are the information brokers of Django applications. So these views are the information brokers of Django applications. So the view sources data from your database. Those view sources data from your database or an external data source or services and delivers it to a template. When your user sends the request to that Django application or that Django work as a controller in that we have seen that Django architecture in last lecture, that Django controller send that request to that view and that view sources the data from that database and send that response or delivers it to a template. For a web application, the view delivers web page contents and templates. For a RESTful API, these contents could be formatted JSON data. We have seen that response may be your JSON data in the form of JSON data. Then the view decides what data gets delivered to the template, either by acting on that input from the user or in response to other business logic and the internal processes. So each Django view performs a specific function and has an associated template. So that views are represented by either a Python function or a method of a Python class. So here you can see the view.py. After creating a view, we have to do some modification in that view.py file. So here you can see to create our first view, we need to modify the views.py file in our events app. So here you can see that views.py here from Django.shortcut import render from Django.http import HTTP response, then define index for that HTTP request, then return HTTP response that my club event calendar here. So here in this you can see that so first line that is from Django.shortcut import render. So here import the render method. Start app adds this line to the file automatically. So that render method is used when rendering templates, which we will cover or we have seen in the last chapter that what is render method. So here then that second line that from Django.http import HTTP response. So here we import that HTTP response method. Then that HTTP, the communication protocol used by all the web browsers that uses request and response objects to pass the data to and from your app. Your app means our code and the browser. So we need a response object to pass view information back to the browser. Then here you can see the line number 4 and 5 that we are going to define the index for that request and the return the HTTP response. Sure that this is your view function. Okay, so this is your view function. It's an example of function based view. So it takes a request from your web browser and returns a response. In the simple case, it's just a line of text formatted as an HTML heading. Here you can see that HTML heading. So this is the view.py file. So next file is configuring the that urls.py so that we will see that configuring the urls. So whenever we have started the development server now, then you will notice it still displays the welcome page. Whenever we are starting that server, it displays the welcome page. So for Django to use your new view, you need to tell Django the index view and you want to display when someone navigates to that site or the home page. So we can do this by configuring the URLs. So whenever we want to navigate from the home page to the new view, we have to uh, configure that urls, that is we have to configure that url.py file. So in Django, the path function is used to configure the urls. To configure the urls, path function is used. So its basic form or the syntax for that path function is here. You can see that a path inside the bracket root comma view. So this is syntax for the path function. Then here, so you can see that example for path function like path. Then here you can see this root and view. This root is my page and this is the view, views dot my view. So in this example, a request to that, like you can see, take an example like http colon double slash example dot com slash my page. So this is the root. So it would route to the my view function in the applications views.py. This is the view name here. So it will route this page to the my view function in the applications view.py file. So yet, if this is a bit confusing now, if it will take, it will make a lot more sense once you have written more views. If there are multiple views are there, so it is little bit confusing. Okay, so that the path function also takes an optional name argument and zero or more keyboard arguments that are passed as a Python dictionary. So the path function statement lives in a special file called urls.py. So to configure the URL, we need, or we are using that path function, and the path function statements are present in the file urls.py. So yeah, so whenever that when start project created our website, so it is created, it created a urls.py file in our site folder like my club underscore site slash urls.py. So this is the correct place for site wide navigation. So rarely it is good place to put that url related to individual application. Not only it's having like all our url in the one or more complex and less portable, so it can lead to strange behavior if two applications use a view with the same name. So to solve this problem, we create a new urls.py file for each application. For each application, we are going to create a new urls.py file. So here you can see urls.py. So first we need to create a urls.py file in our event tab. Okay, that is new file. So here this file is present in the my club underscore root slash event slash urls.py. So it consists of from django.urls import path, that we are going to use that path function from dot import views. So it consists of URL patterns here. See that in URL patterns we are going to use that path function here. See views.index comma name is equals to index. So here you can see that line one, that import. Yeah, this will import the path function. Okay, then this import is necessary for the URL dispatcher to work, and it is common to all urls.py files. We have to import that path function. Okay, here how to import. See here from django.urls import path. Then a second line from dot import views. So this will import the local views.py file. Yeah, the dot operator before that from, after that from dot here, this dot operator. Yeah. So this dot operator in this case, it is a shorthand for the current package. So this is saying that import all views from the current package. Here importing this dot says that import, this dot says that import all views from the current package or the current events. That current package is the events. Okay. Then this line number 4 here, this URL patterns. This line number 4 lists the URL patterns registered for this app. All the URL patterns registered for this app, it will list that. So for readability, the list is broken into multiple lines with one URL pattern per line. So that line number 5, here you can see that line number 5, that path. Okay. So that line number 5 is the actual URL dispatcher. So it matches an empty string. It will also match this slash here. You can see this, it will match the URL string and also match the slash, as the Django automatically removes the slash. In other words, this matches both the root here. You can see the, it will match both this here. After at the end we are adding that slash, so that Django automatically remove the slash here. Okay, so these are these both like http colon double slash example.com and the http colon double slash example.com slash. So these two or these both are the same. Okay. So that views dot index. What is that views dot index here? So this views.index points to our index view. That is, the dot operator is pointing to the index view inside the views.py file that we are going to import in the line number 2, that we have imported that views.py. Okay, so that views.index points to our index view, and that name is equals to index means while it's optional, you should always name your URL. This is the name of your URL here. It is optional part. Okay, so that URL, so they can be referred to the code like reverse lookup. So your URL reversing is common in both templates and views. So you will see that lookup of that templates in the views. So now we will see that urls.py file here. You can see that we have seen what example for that. So here that url.py file is present in the my club underscore side here, url.py. So here from django.contrib import admin, then from django.urls import include comma path. Okay, this is the path function here. This line number 2, we have added that include function for here, include function to our imports. Okay, yeah, then after that URL patterns, then the path function is there. Okay, so we have made two important changes to this file. That is at line number 2, that we have added the include function. Then at line number 6 here, you can see what changes we have made here. We have added the new URL dispatcher in this file. The dispatcher is including the urls.py file from the events app. The empty string, yeah, that empty string is here. You can see this empty string. This empty string will match everything after the domain name. This pattern must be at last entry in the URL patterns list. Otherwise, Django shortcut logic will switch to the event tab before trying to match any of the other site URLs. Yeah, this we have added two important changes here. You can see we have added two changes, which are there here. This include function we have added here, and we have added another URL dispatcher. Okay, then next file is models.py. For that we are going to see that the Django models. So Django models provide an object relational mapping, that is ORM, to the underlying database. So that ORM is a powerful programming technique that makes working with the data and relational database. In Django, the model is an object map to the database. The model is the object mapped to the database. When we create a model, Django executes SQL to create a corresponding table in the database without have you have to do without writing a single line of SQL. Whenever we are going to create any Django model, after creating that model, Django execute SQL to create that corresponding table in the database based on that model. So without writing any SQL statements, it will create one table in your database based on that model. So Django prefixes the table name with the name of your Django application. After creating that model, it will create one table in your database. The table name is prefixes, or Django prefixes the table name with the name of your Django application. So the model also links related information in the database. So here you can see that one example here for the models.py. Here, here we have created one here. Open the models.py file in your events folder and add the following here in your myclub underscore root. After installing that Django in your system, you will see this all the folders in your Django after installing that Django in your system. Okay, so in this myclub underscore root folder events, in that events folder, that models.py file is there. In this file here, add these changes like from django.db import the models. We are going to import that models function here. Okay, after that we are going to write one class here, class event consisting that here models.model. Then there it's having attributes like name, event date, venue, manager, and description. So here model for the name is equals to models dot character field. It will indicate that this is the character field. Okay, yeah, see the label for that event name and the maximum length for that name here for that character field. Similarly for event date, models dot date time field. Okay, and the label is event date. And for the venue, models dot character field and the maximum length of that venue. Then for manager, models dot character field, it is character field and the length. For the description, it is a text field. So models dot text field and blank. We can leave this as the blank. That is, we are setting that blank is equals to true. So here you can see that at the first line we have imported that models package from the Django.db here. We have imported that models package from the Django.db. Okay. Then at the third line here, class event. Okay, here it is the event class definition. So each Django model must inherit from Django's model class. Here you can see we are going to inherit this from the Django model class. Then here each of our model field has a related Django field type and field options. Here field type and the field options. Okay. Then this event model uses three different field types like here character field, date time field and text field. So here you can see this that we have seen in the last chapter that what is that character field, date time field and the text field. Okay. So after creating that models.py, whenever we are going to create any model, here we have to import that models from the Django.db. Then we have to inherit that we have to inherit that Django model from the Django's model class. Okay. So that's it for today's session. We will stop here. Thank you.